If you're tired of hearing conflicting information about HMB, this might just be the last video you need to watch. I'm going to break it all down in plain language. We'll cover the science, safety, dosage, and efficacy so you can decide for yourself if HMB is worth including in your supplement routine. Disclaimer up front. First, let's be clear. I don't sell HMB. I'm not affiliated with any HMB brands, and I don't even regularly take it myself. My goal is simply to translate the research into digestible takeaways for people who care about fitness, strength, and performance. What is HMB? HMB stands for beta-hydroxy beta-methylbutyrate. It's a metabolite of the essential amino acid leucine, which plays a crucial role in muscle protein synthesis. When you consume protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids, and leucine triggers the mTOR pathway, stimulating anabolism. Only about 5% of dietary leucine is converted into HMB through metabolic processes involving enzymes like KIC dioxygenase. But that small fraction seems to exert disproportionately large effects on preserving muscle mass and enhancing recovery. Supplement companies isolated HMB and started offering it as a standalone ergogenic aid, essentially a super concentrated way to harness leucine's benefits without consuming massive amounts of protein. To naturally produce 3 grams of HMB, you'd need to ingest roughly 60 grams of leucine. Forms of HMB: calcium versus free acid. There are 2 primary forms of HMB on the market: HMBCA, calcium salt form, and HMBFA, free acid form. The calcium version is more common and relatively inexpensive. It's absorbed fairly quickly, typically hitting your bloodstream within 10 to 15 minutes. Emerging research suggests the free acid form may offer significantly superior bioavailability, potentially 90 to 97% better absorption. That means more HMB ends up in your bloodstream and muscles where it can do its job. Some evidence also indicates that HMBFA may sustain plasma concentrations longer. Both forms appear effective, and if cost is a concern, the calcium form is still a valid choice. The key takeaway here is that HMBFA might offer more bang for your buck, but either can work if used correctly. Is HMB safe? Safety is one of the most common questions surrounding any supplement, and HMB has undergone more scrutiny than many other ergogenic aids. A notable study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise administered 6 grams of HMB per day. The researchers observed no significant changes in biomarkers like cholesterol, liver enzymes, kidney function, or blood lipids. That's reassuring, especially at higher dosages. Broader meta-analyses consistently conclude that HMB is well tolerated, even in populations like the elderly or those in calorie deficits. A rodent study published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology suggested that extremely high doses could elevate fasting insulin levels, hinting at potential insulin resistance. But that dose is far beyond what any human would consume. Leucine itself is known to trigger insulin responses. It's actually more insulinogenic than some carbohydrates. When you eat a protein-heavy meal or supplement with whey or leucine, you naturally get an insulin response. This is part of the anabolic process, not necessarily a sign of harm. Does HMB improve muscle, strength, or fat loss? Studies have shown that HMB supplementation, particularly when paired with structure resistance training, can lead to measurable improvements in muscle mass, strength, and fat loss. One study published in Nutrition tracked subjects over 4 weeks and observed improvements in lean body mass, enhanced strength performance, and reductions in body fat percentage when HMB was used compared to placebo. The logic is that HMB's anti-catabolic properties help prevent muscle breakdown, particularly during periods of caloric restriction, overtraining, or high-volume endurance work. Not all studies agree on HMB's benefits. Some show moderate benefits, others show no difference compared to placebo. A study compared HMB plus whey protein versus leucine plus whey protein during a 12-week resistance training program. No meaningful differences in strength gains, muscle mass, or body composition were found. HMB might be most beneficial in unique situations like severe calorie deficit, overreaching in training, or recovering from injury. For the average gym goer, leucine or a high-quality protein source like whey might be more practical and cost-effective. Some studies claim HMB may outperform anabolic steroids in short-term muscle gain, drawing criticism for methodology and data transparency. Ryan Lowery conducted a study combining HMB with ADP supplementation, which critics argue confounded the results. HMB is a well-researched, generally safe supplement that may help preserve lean mass and improve recovery during high training volumes or calorie deficits. HMB might be useful for those on low-carb diets or intermittent fasting, as it may not spike insulin as aggressively as leucine. HMB could offer a modest edge under the right circumstances, but be cautious of exaggerated claims. HMB's anti-catabolic effects are valuable during caloric deficits or cutting phases, helping maintain lean mass better than placebo. In elderly or inactive populations, HMB can help attenuate muscle degradation even without training. During injury recovery, HMB can slow muscle atrophy when movement isn't possible. For endurance athletes or overreach lifters, HMB might reduce muscle damage markers, improving recovery and reducing fatigue. HMB can be stacked with other compounds like creatine, ADP, or whey protein for maximum benefit. Creatine and HMB have additive effects, enhancing strength and energy production while reducing muscle breakdown. Combining HMB with peak ADP showed promising results in power output and lean mass, suitable for competitive lifters or CrossFit athletes. HMB combined with complete protein sources can help close the recovery gap and support anabolism on a low-protein diet. Beta-alanine and HMB can enhance muscle buffering and recovery for endurance or HIIT athletes, especially during metabolic training blocks. Standard dose for HMB is 3 grams per day, split into 1 gram doses with meals or before workouts. HMBFA is preferred, but HMBCA is effective too. Best timing for HMB is 30 to 60 minutes before training to reduce muscle damage, especially if fasted or underfed. During cuts or recovery, take HMB consistently, even on rest days, for continuous muscle protection. HMBFA is beneficial in a fasted state, such as before fasted cardio or resistance training during intermittent fasting. Be cautious of marketing hype. HMB isn't magic, but a tool. Avoid products claiming steroid-like gains or replacing protein intake. Watch out for underdosed products. Effective HMB dose is around 3 grams daily, not tiny doses like 500 milligrams. HMBFA products can be pricey. Check cost per serving. HMBCA, at the right dose, offers similar value at half the price. HMB works best under stress, such as fasting, cutting, cardio, injury recovery, or multiple daily training sessions. If eating sufficient protein, sleeping well, and training smart, HMB might not be very impactful. HMB is valuable for certain populations and situations, offering well-supported and safe options. Consider HMB if cutting, training fasted, needing extra recovery support, aging, injured, or highly active. HMB might not be necessary if consistently eating high protein, not pushing training intensity, or seeking a miracle shortcut. Advanced HMB strategies include fasted training optimization, taking 1.5 g of HMBFA 30 minutes before sessions. 4 two-a-days or high-volume blocks, split HMB doses pre-AM and pre-PM workouts for consistent anti-catabolic support. During deload or recovery weeks, continue HMB supplementation to support recovery and retain lean tissue. HMB acts as an insurance policy for muscle during diets with lower than optimal protein intake. HMB can be taken long-term with no known toxicity, well tolerated even in older adults or clinical populations. HMB doesn't directly cause fat loss, but helps preserve muscle during weight loss, keeping metabolism higher. HMB is more beneficial than BCAAs for lifters consuming adequate protein, offering more bang for your buck when cutting or training fasted. HMB doesn't blunt muscle gains. It reduces muscle breakdown without suppressing anabolic signaling pathways. HMB for older lifters and rehab. HMB's benefits become even more valuable with age. After age 40, we begin to experience sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass and function. This makes resistance training even more critical. However, recovery becomes slower, and the body's anabolic response is weaker. HMB steps in as a powerful ally. Clinical trials show that older adults supplementing with HMB, especially alongside vitamin D, retain more lean mass, recover better from surgery or hospitalization, and maintain strength more effectively. It's even been used in bedridden patients and shown to reduce muscle wasting. For older lifters or beginners returning from injury, HMB can reduce DORMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, preserve muscle during inactivity, and accelerate your return to full-strength training. Natural sources of HMB. HMB is a metabolite of the amino acid leucine, found in high-protein foods, particularly animal proteins like beef, poultry, and fish. But here's the catch. You'd need to consume around 60 grams of leucine, which is over 600 g of protein, to naturally generate just 3 grams of HMB. That's not practical or sustainable. That's why direct supplementation is the most efficient way. Think of HMB like a refined tool, a shortcut to a very specific outcome. While you can build muscle without it, for certain goals and populations, it can save time, effort, and hard-earned gains. The science behind HMB and mTOR, you might be wondering, does suppressing muscle breakdown interfere with mTOR? Here's the good news. Research shows HMB doesn't interfere with the mTOR pathway. In fact, it can help optimize the muscle protein synthesis, MPS, balance by reducing breakdown while allowing synthesis to proceed unimpeded. This improves your net protein balance, especially during calorie deficits. In short, HMB doesn't just slow the leak. It helps you fill the tank faster by preserving the muscle-building environment your training and nutrition work so hard to create. HMB versus creatine. What's the difference? Both HMB and creatine are backed by solid science, but they work very differently. Creatine enhances your ability to rapidly produce ADP, the energy currency of your muscles, which translates to more power, more reps, and more volume in your workouts. It supports lean mass indirectly by allowing you to train harder and recover faster. It's most effective for short bursts of high-intensity activity. HMB, on the other hand, doesn't give you more energy, it protects your muscle from being broken down. It's most effective in situations where you're cutting, under-recovered, aging, or just starting a resistance program. In other words, creatine builds the engine, HMB prevents leaks. You don't have to choose between them. In fact, they stack beautifully. Use creatine for pushing your limits. Use HMB for preserving your gains. Sample 30-day HMB protocol. Want to give HMB a real test run? Here's a science-backed, real-world protocol. Week 1 to 4. HMB dosage, 3 grams per day. Divided into 1 g doses morning, pre-workout, and before bed. Training plan, lift 3-4x per week, mixing hypertrophy, 8 to 12 reps, and strength, 4 to 6 reps. Nutrition, stay at maintenance calories or a slight deficit cardio. 2 sessions/week moderate intensity to aid recovery. Expected results, faster recovery between sessions, less DOMS after tough workouts, improved strength maintenance during deficits, possible lean mass gain, even while cutting. Combine with 5g creatine monohydrate daily for a synergistic effect. You'll train harder and recover smarter. Who should not take HMB? While HMB is well tolerated and safe for most people, it may not be necessary for everyone. If you're young, highly trained, and consistently meeting protein goals, not in a caloric deficit or intense recovery phase, already recovering well from training, then HMB may offer diminishing returns. Also, if you're on a tight budget, you'll likely get more impact from creatine, protein, or essential amino acids before HMB. It's not a miracle, it's a tool. And like any tool, it works best when used for the right job. Is HMB worth it? HMB isn't hype. It's a research-backed supplement with a clear, well-defined role in muscle health. Whether you're recovering from intense training, entering a calorie deficit, aging, or just starting your fitness journey, HMB can be the missing link between muscle breakdown and muscle preservation. It won't replace protein, creatine, or hard work, but it will help you hold on to your gains, speed up recovery, and give you an edge when the going gets tough. In an era where everyone's trying to gain more muscle and lose more fat, often at the same time, HMB is a smart ally.